Since launch, Halo Infinite has improved immeasurably. We went from having 4 playlists that were all Team Arena with slight differences, to having actual variation of game modes like Infection, SWAT, Firefight, Team Slayer, Husky Raid, and etc. Especially Team Slayer. I don't know what they were thinking with launching Halo without Team Slayer. They're nuts. We also went from Season 1 and Season 2 being 6 months long with terrible content droughts, to Season 5 being 3 months with 2 big events that add cosmetics, maps, and game modes. It also took about a year for Forge to be in Halo Infinite, so the community couldn't really add any content into the game, especially with how dry the game was itself. It was completely lacking content, so the community not being able to make up for it was just terrible. Now we have the custom game browser and a bunch of Forge-made maps in the multiplayer itself, giving a near endless variety of maps in almost all the playlists. Halo Infinite at launch, to even now depending on the playlist, has had some of the worst networking / desync or just technical issues I have ever seen in a video game. I have literally been in games where my ping was 3000 and it wrecked the whole lobby. I have also had more common network issues like ghost melees, lag while in vehicles or getting repulsed, and even my shots not registering when I hit the enemy. Thankfully, they are having network updates that will hopefully fix, if not at least improve those problems. And from my recent experience with the Squad Battles playlists that has those network updates, it has improved the technical side of Halo Infinite in my limited experience with it. Of course, I want to play more of it before I can say it's completely fixed. Season 5, for me at least, feels like Halo Infinite is finally starting to get on the right foot. Season 5 alone has introduced Firefight, Campaign AI and Forge, more cross-core stuff like helmets and coatings, better events in the form of operations, and the most important thing, the network updates that I just talked about. But with that said, Halo Infinite still needs things like the MCC Match Composer, animated nameplates, custom emblems, the armor color system of old with the new armor coding system, more classic weapons returning like the Carbine, Fuel Rod, or Grenade Launcher, and more game modes like Assault, Griffball, and Breakout to be added. I want to preface this by saying, just because we're on the right foot doesn't mean we're there yet. There still needs to be things added. Even with all the content and fixes, there are still exacerbated fans of Halo. And I get it. It took way too long for Halo Infinite to finally turn around, and I don't think this game will ever reach the popularity that it could have had if it had launched as a polished product. There is a saying that first impressions are important, and the fact that this game is now full of maps, modes, player customization, and with a network update that may soon fix desync, doesn't mean we have or should, as consumers, forget about how long it took 343 to fix their game. Also, remember, this isn't the first time that they've released an unfinished product that took years to fix. The only thing I want to say that's positive about 343 on this one is that they finally got rid of all the head honchos at 343 that made this game an MCC a mess. So we can hope for a better product in the future, but that's yet to be seen. And we'll see it when we see it, right? Like, we can only judge off of what they've given us so far. But I will hope, as a fan of Halo, that the new management does better. And I wanted to bring up my last point specifically, because even though the game has improved, there is still a sense of apathy for the newest Halo game with some of its fans. And honestly, I can completely get their frustration and anger. It shouldn't take a year for Forge to release. It shouldn't take over a year for career progression to come out. And it shouldn't take 2 years for the networking and desync to finally be getting fixed. The game should have all the bells and whistles when it launches. But with that said, even though it took forever for Halo Infinite to get on track, and I wouldn't blame anyone for leaving for good, I'm going to continue to play it because I genuinely like the gameplay of Halo Infinite. And it's a free-to-play game, so at least you can always come back and try it out whenever you want, free of charge. And also let me say that just because the game's free to play doesn't mean it should have launched the way it did. they should have just canceled the game and waited a year or two before bringing it back, because there's just no game on the planet that should ever release with a lack of game modes. Like, I'm someone that likes Slayer objective game modes. I don't like playing Capture the Flag or Oddball, so when the game launched and I had to play those game modes, as someone who's been a fan of Halo since Halo 2, I was really disappointed with how it launched, but I'm also really happy with where it is now. I just wish it didn't take so long. Now, let me know in the comments. Are you still playing Halo Infinite despite its rough launch, despite its lack of game modes to begin with, and despite how unpolished the game was? Or have you completely moved on from Halo, or are you on the Master Chief's Collection? Because I still play that. I love me some classic Halo sometimes, but I'm kind of curious to see where everyone's at. Thank you for watching the video, and...
I'm sorry, sir. It's time for you to leave.